The Chicago Bears beat the Philadelphia Eagles today 24-15 on Black Friday. Are the Chicago Bears the real deal this year? And what is wrong with those Philadelphia Eagles? Let's talk about it. Welcome everybody to the Duo Collectibles YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our great football content this season. What's up, everybody? Welcome into Two Burning Takes, where I believe there's two sides to every story. I hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving. And today we're going to be talking about the Black Friday game, the Chicago Bears at the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's get into it. Are the Chicago Bears the real deal? I'm thinking yes. I mean, at this point, it's getting pretty hard to argue. I know they started 0-2, an extremely disappointing loss early on, but since then, 9-1, 5 straight wins. They go on the road and they beat the defending champs, and they're really starting to form an identity. I mean, they have 24 turnovers, 2 more today, one on the tush push, which was amazing. That's league lead in turnovers. And the Bears through 12 games are 9-3, and Ben Johnson has the boys playing well, and he has them believing. I mean, they go on the road today to Philly. We'll talk about Philly in a little bit, and I know they're certainly not without their struggles, but that's still a big win. It's a hostile environment in a windy Philadelphia today against a really good Eagles team. You know, not an amazing day for Caleb Williams, but Ben Johnson has him playing pretty mistake-free football, 17 of 36, 154 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. But the real story today was the Chicago Bears run game. I mean, they were just gashing the Eagles on the ground today. Ben Johnson really wanted to bring that identity over from Detroit with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And he's really finding his footing with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. And I probably mispronounced that name. I always do. But just looking at their stats today, 22 carries and 130 yards and a touchdown from Monangai. DeAndre Swift has 18 carries for 125 yards and a touchdown. They rushed for 281 total against a very good Philadelphia defense, a very good Philadelphia D-line. And like I said, Ben Johnson's just establishing that run game up front. It looks amazing. It really does. At one point, one of the announcers described the Bears O-line as kind of moving like a symphony. They really do. It's amazing to watch. And a guy like DeAndre Swift was kind of left for dead by the past Bears regime. He didn't look like much of a player, and Ben Johnson just seems to be getting the most out of him, and that running back duo is great. And he's really controlled Caleb Williams as far as improvising. He really wants him to stay in the pocket, but as you see on some of these third downs, some of these third and mediums, third and shorts, Caleb is real tough to stop. He had one play where he kind of faked like he was going to run, and he bounces back, and then he cuts it all the way to around the left side to pick up a key first down. It seemed like every time they needed it on a third down, he was using his legs. He really has Caleb Williams playing, about as efficient as Caleb can play. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't know if Caleb Williams will be the Bears' long-term starter. I don't think he's exactly what Ben Johnson wants. I think Ben just wants somebody to run his offense. But credit to Ben for taking in Caleb and getting more out of him than they were last year, and essentially taming a wild horse. But we'll see where it goes. But either way, if you're a Chicago Bears fan, you have to be feeling amazing right now. You're 9-3. You're in first in the division. The Lions lose to the Packers on Thanksgiving, and they overall don't look very good. The Vikings have obviously had their struggles, and now you have in 2 of your next 3 games for the Bears, you're facing the Packers. So this is really time to take control of the division. See if you're for real this year, and it starts next week at Green Bay. That's a huge game. Then they play the Browns, and then they're at home against Green Bay right before Christmas. So just a really big stretch coming up for the Bears. The defense is playing well. Like I said, league leading 24 turnovers. That's essentially 2 turnovers a game right now. And, that's a pace. That pace that they're on is really hard to keep up. But, hey, they seem like they know what they're doing out there. And it's worked for them so far. So, again, I love what Ben Johnson's doing. I definitely doubted that he would transition from a coordinator to a great leader, but you can really see after the game. I mean, he's shirtless in the locker room, jumping around. Everyone's having a great time. So you see that the leadership qualities are there as well. So, like I said, I'm not sure if Caleb will ultimately be his guy. But if you're a Bears fan, I think you have the most important piece in Ben Johnson. You have a brilliant offensive mind, obviously a very good leader, and kind of that guy that people will want to play for, no matter who's on the team. So for the first time in a long time, it feels like there's stability in the Bears organization, and it feels like they can beat anybody, and they believe they can beat anybody. So again, the traditional boogeymen of Chicago are next week. They go to Lambeau Field. So I suppose those good feelings could all go away real quick with a loss at Green Bay. But, man, if you're a Bears fan, you must be excited for next week, excited for the next 3 weeks, 2 of them against the Packers. Even if you go 2-1, you beat the Packers once, beat the Browns, and lose to the Packers, you're still in a good spot and, exciting times in Chicago. What is wrong with these Philadelphia Eagles? They dropped their second straight in a row at home today to the Chicago Bears. Back-to-back losses. They're at 8-4 now. And the offense just seems like a problem. I know Lane Johnson's been out, so the O-line hasn't felt the same. But it just seems like the water's kind of boiling over with this Jalen Hurts situation. I know A.J. Brown had a pretty big day today, 10 catches, 2 touchdowns, 132 yards. But overall, it just seemed really clunky. They can't get Saquon going. Hurts seems to be missing a lot of easy throws. He threw a pretty bad pick today on the run. I know he doesn't throw many picks, so everyone's going to throw him every now and again. But the crowd was extremely frustrated early on. Pretty much every drive that ended the way it did, just kind of a clunky end. The Boo Birds came out right away in Philly, and I know that's a pretty hostile crowd to begin with, so it's not completely uncharacteristic that the Boo Birds would be raining down, but I think it's just a kind of a microcosm of what they've been watching for a while now. They really, really struggled to get it going today. They had 3 points in the first half, coming off a game where they were up 21 against Dallas and didn't score in the second half. So really, really tough times in Philly. The lucky thing for them is the schedule kind of plays in their favor. Tough one next week at the Chargers, but they're kind of beat up. Then they get the Raiders. Then there's 2 games against the Commanders, 1 game in Buffalo, which will be tough. But overall, the Raiders and the 2 Commanders games are very winnable for them, and maybe you can get a beat-up Chargers team next week. So my point being, at 8-4, probably still the division winner, although Dallas has been creeping up, but probably still the division winner, probably still a playoff team. But it just goes to show you why it's so hard to repeat as a Super Bowl champion in this league. It's still a very good roster, but they just they don't really have that magic that they've had in the past couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see if they can kind of get things turned around. But the real problem seems to be with Jalen Hurts and the rest of the players on the offense, especially A.J. Brown. It feels like every week he's coming out and saying something. It's not like a direct shot at Jalen Hurts, but he's clearly frustrated. He was frustrated last year when they won the Super Bowl So now when they're struggling, again, I know he had a big day today, but overall he has not had a big season, and it'll be interesting to see, what they do in the offseason. Does New England come knocking again, like they allegedly did at the trade deadline this year, or do any other teams come knocking? And Philly might look at a chance to get a premium asset back for AJ Brown, and clear some of that cap space. So we'll see how it goes. I think overall the Eagles will be okay, but it's a long road back to the Super Bowl, and it's not always sunny in Philadelphia.